Executive Council approves comprehensive review and upgrade of various welfare packages of Nigerian police personnel. Senate approves 2018-2022 federal government external borrowing plan of $5.8 billion. Information Minister tackles critics and self-styled commentators of the country's state of security, describes them as undue relevance. Nigerian Export Promotion Council redoubles efforts at projecting Nigerians' products. Let's bring you the details now. The Federal Executive Council has approved a comprehensive review and upgrade of various welfare packages of the Nigerian police personnel for enhanced service delivery. The Minister of Police Affairs, Mohammed Megari Dingyadi, who briefed journalists after the Council's meeting, presided over by President Muhammadu Buhari, said the new pay package will take effect from January next year. State House correspondent Adam Musambu has details.
After a 7-month shutdown to allow for comprehensive overhaul and upgrade in tune with changing times, the Executive Council chambers of the State House once again comes alive. And at the resumed meeting by members, issues relating to the welfare and well-being of the Nigeria police personnel dominated discussions.
I am particularly very happy today to inform Nigerians through you gentlemen who are here that the Federal Executive Council under the chairmanship of Mr. President has approved the review and the upgrading of the take-home pay of police personnel in this country.
This, the minister said, is in fulfillment of the promise by President Muhammadu Buhari in his nationwide broadcast following the NSAS protest in parts of the country. Consequently, duty tour, shift duty, and supervisors' allowances have been reviewed upwards. 1.12 billion naira approved for the payment of outstanding benefits of personnel for the uninsured period of 2013 to 2020, and 13.1 billion naira for outstanding death benefits from 2013 to August 2021. 1.1 billion naira has also been approved as payment for outstanding burial expenses of personnel from 2012 to 2021, while 750 million naira as annual insurance premium, as well as 4.8 billion naira for repairs and replacement of damaged police infrastructure nationwide.
Council has also approved a tax waiver in the sum of 18 billion 600 million for junior officers of the police in order to increase their take-home pay. Similarly, government has also approved the increase of the current rent subsidy, which is currently between 15 to 20%, amounting to 61 billion. Increase is to 40% of the consolidated police salary structure that is composed in the sum of 78 billion 300 million naira. That is to say an increase of about 16 billion 400 million naira.
The Federal Executive Council has also approved payment of 20% of compass as peculiar allowance towards boosting the take-home pay of the Nigeria police.
With this development now, police will be having a more attractive pay that will be commensurate with what they are doing. What we expect the police to do after this is to redouble their efforts and justify the confidence that Mr. President and the Federal Executive Council has vested in them. As a ministry, we will do whatever it takes to ensure that we improve the performance and the relationship between the police and the public to ensure that they justify this good gesture, this very great history that has been achieved by Mr. President and his administration.
All the approved figures, the minister explained, are expected to be reviewed and verified by relevant government agencies who are also to come up with a new salary structure to be adopted by government and, if need be, a supplementary budget to be forwarded to the National Assembly for consideration and approval. From the State House, Adamu Sambo, NTA News.
And determined to sustain the upward trajectory in the nation's communications and digital economy sector, the federal government has approved Nigeria's startup bill towards enhancing innovation in tech industry. Minister of the Federal Executive Council meeting. Again, here is State House correspondent Adamu Sambo with a report.
The Nigeria Startup Bill to be forwarded to the National Assembly for enactment into law is to replace the National Digital Innovation Entrepreneurship and Startup Policy. The 11-chapter bill, crafted to, amongst others, provide the enabling environment for the startups in Nigeria to thrive, also makes provision for the establishment of the National Council for Digital Innovation and Entrepreneurship to be chaired by the President.
Even a young startup doesn't have one kobo, government will support him through seed fund. Government will provide an avenue or an environment for him to come and work on his startup. And also government is willing to support him when he gets any international partnership.
The minister also secured the council's approval for the procurement of 4 passenger lifts for the headquarters of the Nigerian Communications Commission, NCC. 2 joint memos presented by the Ministries of Power and that of Finance, Budget and National Planning also scaled through regarding the Presidential Power Initiative. One of them is seeking the engagement of transaction advisors and third-party consultants for the implementation of the program at $800,000 as well as $1.1 million respectively, aimed at modernizing and upgrading power transmission and distribution infrastructure in Nigeria.
And of course, the focus is to be able to very quickly enhance the power availability and capacity in the country. With this particular approval, we'll be able to expand from the current capacity of 5,000 megawatts to 7,000 megawatts.
Approvals were also granted for enhanced provision of infrastructure in parts of the country.
The first one is for the construction of 2 bridges at Nata Ala and Saiburawa, Kano South local government area of Kano State. It's for the sum of 1,690,323,723 naira 58 kobo only. Another bridge in Jimeta in Adamawa State was also approved for the sum of 2,973,716,116 naira.
Meanwhile, the council has resolved to ensure that all bridges across Nigeria are assessed and attended to as part of the nationwide focus on the critical arteries for development. From the State House, Adamu Sambo, NTA News.
The Senate has approved the 2018-2022 federal government external borrowing plan of $5.8 billion United States dollars. National Assembly correspondent Ignatius Nko reports that the legislators also debated on the general principles of the Gender and Equal Opportunities Bill.
Chairman, Senate Committee on Local and Foreign Debts, Senator Clifford Odia, presented the committee's report on the scrutiny of the 2018-2022 federal government external borrowing plan. The funds to be borrowed from 6 international financial institutions will be injected into critical sectors, including water, power, and health.
The terms and conditions of the loan from funding agencies be forwarded to the National Assembly prior to the execution of same for approval and proper documentation.
Is $5,803,000,000 and a grant of $10,000. Those in favor of this recommendation say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it.
The Senate is considering a bill that seeks to provide a legislative framework for the empowerment of women and gender equality in Nigeria. The bill, which started its legislative journey in the 7th and 8th Assembly, witnessed divergent opinions among senators and was eventually stepped down for further consultations.
To prevent discrimination and provide for the rights of men and women.
To ensure that Nigerian women are given equal opportunity.
Women have been at the receiving end of being excluded or even suffer denial of rights and liberties.
This aspect of it, by equating opportunities, actually infringes with the provisions of the Quran, of which I am a Muslim, and also the Bible.
If the talk of equity was okay, but equality is no.
The Nigerian women folk, they're looking up to us. Our daughters, our wives.
Please, if there is anything that we pointed out of serious concern to our colleagues, let's find an accommodation so that when we come back, we should be able to pass the bill.
The National Assembly Budget and Research Office Establishment Bill, sponsored by Senator Sadiq Omar, and the Federal University of Agriculture and Environmental Sciences, Abo, Imo State, sponsored by Senator Rochas Okorocha, passed second reading, as Senate passed the 2022 budget of the Nigerian Communications Commission of 633.3 billion naira. Senate observed a minute silence in honor of late Oba Jimo Oyewumi, former Chief of Army Staff, General Muhammad Wushishi, and the Olowu of Owu Kingdom, Oba Adeboyega Dosumu. Senate has adjourned plenary to Tuesday, the 21st of December 2021. From the National Assembly, Ignatius Nkwo, NTN News.
Meanwhile, the Senate Committee on Appropriation has given assurance of its readiness to support the Independent National Electoral Communication and the National Population Commission to deliver on their statutory mandates next year. This was when the committee had interactions with two commissions. National Assembly correspondent Dayo Ogunshola reports.
The interaction between the committee and a team of INEC national commissioners, led by Professor Abdullahi Suru, was to be conducted behind closed door, giving credence to the sensitive nature of the issues at hand. The National Population Commission joined the engagement about 30 minutes later. The forum provided an opportunity for the lawmakers to probe the level of preparedness for the conduct of next census.
From when we made that presentation with the breakdown of our requirement to now, you know the amount of changes we've had. But we knew that we were going to come to you for supplementation because that was grossly inadequate.
Whatever you can do in your capacity and the committee as a group, we need to do that to ensure that we have this population exercise done.
If we are able to know how many we are in this nation, we'll be able to plan our resources very creditably well.
Chairman Senate Committee on Appropriations says the exercise is in the interest of the nation.
I don't want to create a situation where certain aspects of funding to these are very, very important exercises that are going to take place next year and indeed 2023. We don't want to have anything that will impede them.
Further engagement is scheduled for next week. From the National Assembly, Dayo Ogunshola, NTA News.
Following the rollout of COVID-19 vaccines in Nigeria, those eligible are advised to go and take the jab at the nearest primary healthcare center in their communities. The House of Representatives at plenary alleged that less than 20% of the 30,000 primary healthcare centers are in good working condition. National Assembly correspondent Lami Ali reports.
When the issue was raised during plenary, debate on it led the House to pass a resolution to investigate the state of primary healthcare centers in the country.
Despite the huge resources invested into the scheme by federal government, the program has failed to achieve the desired objectives.
The debate also raised valid questions regarding whose responsibility is it among the 3 tiers of government to run primary healthcare centers and provide housing.
It was interventional initially, and now for almost 30 years, it has been there without really achieving where we needed to be in health.
The same way we have institutions like UBEC that have subsidiaries at the state level, constitution should be amended.
We claim to be practicing federalism, so we must practice, seen to practice federalism. Otherwise, an already overburdened federal government will continue to be overburdened even more if we adopt that approach.
An ad hoc committee was set up to look into that. The motion from Representative Benjamin Kalu demanding an investigation into the Deep Blue Sea contract, which involves procurement of security surveillance equipment, was adopted.
The National Assembly has neither authorized nor appropriated any monies for the Deep Blue contract or any monthly expenditure.
Other security-related motions adopted include the need to investigate the assassination of a commissioner in Katsina State from Iru Salisu, the need to investigate the abduction of 5 engineers as raised by Ifeanyi Moma, and the need to curb incessant bank robbery in parts of Kogi State as moved by Leke Abejide.
Heavily armed robbers again attacked 3 commercial banks in Egbe and Odoire in Yagba West.
House members also urged government to boost food security as tabled by Richard Bande, just as the appeal for the expansion of Osubi Warri Airport as moved by Efe Afe.
In February 2021, the House passed a resolution that the Federal Minister of Abuja should ensure the opening of the Osubi Airport.
Plenary featured second reading of 6 bills, including the bill seeking to make effective conventions on chemical and biological weapons sponsored by Abdulrazak Namdas. Meanwhile, House Speaker Femi Gbajabiamila says the recent presidential assent to the climate change bill sponsored by Sam Onigbo will help Nigeria transit to zero carbon emission. From the National Assembly, Lami Ali, NTA News.
This is the news at 10, reaching you live on NTA News 24. More reports after this time out.
This is NTA News 24 broadcasting from Abuja. You can watch us anywhere, anytime on the following platforms. For more information, log on to our website www.nta.ng or join us on our social media handles, Twitter at NTA News 24, Facebook at NTA News 24.
For comments, suggestions and inquiries, send an email to news24@nta.gov.ng or call us on the following numbers.
NTA News 24, news and more news.
Critics and self-styled commentators of the current state of security in the country have been described as people seeking relevance and trying to situate themselves on the political stage. Information and Culture Minister Lai Mohammed stated this at a media briefing in Abuja, and Nefosin tells us more.
Many people forget that in 2015, 2014, Abuja was not safe. You were here in Abuja when the United Nations headquarters was attacked. You were here when the police headquarters was attacked in Abuja by Boko Haram.
Information and Culture Minister giving a recall what the situation was before the present administration came into power. With the present situation, it is self-seeking and a deliberate attempt to grandstand for political reasons, Lai Mohammed noted.
Amidst the cacophony of voices, some genuinely concerned about the situation and others ready to exploit it for selfish ends, it is easy to forget where we are coming from. Today, we only look at the current situation without wondering what would have been had this president not taken the bull by the horns as far as security is concerned.
The minister said President Muhammadu Buhari has done so much for the safety of lives and property of Nigerians, recalling that recently President Muhammadu Buhari commissioned some naval hardware in addition to the Air Force and Army.
Yes, banditry and kidnapping have added to the state of insecurity. President Muhammadu Buhari has also continued to provide quality leadership in order to ensure that our security agencies decisively tackle the cankerworm of insecurity of any EU. No administration in Nigeria's recent history has provided the security agencies with the hardware needed to tackle insecurity as that of President Muhammadu Buhari, in addition to raising the morale of our security men and women.
While insurgents are surrendering in their hundreds, critics, the minister maintained, must come with clean hands. In Abuja, Anthony Forson, NTA News.
A meeting of the Northeast Governors Forum has ended in Damaturu, the Yobe State capital, with an appeal to the federal government to consolidate gains made by the security agencies in the fight against insurgency, topping the 5-point communique issued. And the communique was signed by the forum's chairman and governor of Borno State, Babagana Umar Zulum. Adam Yusuf reports.
Apart from the 6 governors or their representatives, the 6th meeting of the Northeast Governors Forum has in attendance stakeholders whose presence was to identify and appreciate efforts of leaders in tackling challenges bedeviling the region. Chairman of the forum and Borno State Governor Babagana Umar Zulum says the continued engagement with his colleagues and the federal government has no doubt raised awareness to the humanitarian situation in the region and believed that terrorism occasioned by Boko Haram activities will be surmounted in due course.
On the issue of insecurity, especially Boko Haram phenomenon, recent developments seem to indicate that we have reached the beginning of the aim of the insurgency in Sham.
The host governor, Memala Buni, noted with satisfaction how cooperation among the states in the Northeast and the synergy with partners is assisting in restoring means of livelihoods of people affected by insurgency across the region.
If we are to grant a prosperous future to the next and upcoming generations, it is therefore a matter of pride for all our states that, having realized the magnitude of our common challenge, we have evolved a stronger fraternity upon which we will continue to build a solid bond brotherhood for socio-economic advancement, not only among our leaders but also among our people.
The meeting, which continued behind closed door, has on top of the agenda issues relating to Mambila hydropower projects, security, and gains recorded by the Northeast Development Commission. In Damaturu, Adam Yusuf, NTA News.
The Nigerian Air Force is enhancing capabilities of critical air power required for joint force operation for national security. Chief of the Air Staff, Air Marshal Oladayo Amao, at the wing ceremony of 4 new pilots and 12 unmanned aircraft systems for effective defense of the country's airspace. In the meantime, 11 students pilots are currently undergoing training in South Africa, while 3 on jet conversion in Egypt.
Plans are also currently being made to upgrade the UAV training facilities to enhance the operational capacity of UAV operators in anticipation of increased tempo of air operations with the recently acquired UAV, while sustaining capacity building program for the Nigerian Air Force regiments in joint effort for synergy of air-ground integrated operations with sister services.
The training efforts are targeted at ensuring combat readiness to counter both domestic and foreign threats to the nation's security and well-being of the people. The federal government has refuted a claim by some local and international organizations that Nigeria is at the verge of facing food crisis. Minister of Agriculture and Rural Development, in an exclusive interview with NTA, said Nigerians' agricultural output have been on the increase despite the social and economic challenges. Musa Aliu tells us more.
There was an insinuation that Nigeria may face food crisis as a result of challenges associated with COVID-19, conflicts, and other social vices. One of the reports indicates that about 12 million people will face food crisis before the end of December this year. We are already in December. In fact, half of the month have gone. So I visited the Federal Ministry of Agriculture here in Abuja, where I met the minister, Dr. Muhammad Mahmoud Abubakar.
No, we are not going to have a food crisis by the grace of God. We are doing everything possible. We have the grain still in our silos. We are restocking. We are intensifying farming, dry season, wet season. The ministry will start dry season sometime next month, and then the wet season. And all the other areas that, agencies, MDS that are working, we are working together to make sure we maintain level of production no matter what.
The minister said investigation carried out nationwide revealed that there was a good harvest of all food crops despite the climate challenges faced by farmers. And markets like these are the first point of call for farmers, where they supply their produce for an exchange for cash.
The government is passionate, Mr. President is passionate about agric, and he has already also released intervention to the ministry to restock this grain reserve.
It has been observed that agricultural sector remains key to the economic diversification efforts, as the sector has remained consistent driver of the non-oil sector. Musa Aliyu, NTA News.
And the drive to promote the nation's non-oil export sector has continued to gain traction as the Nigerian Export Promotion Council deploys more techniques towards ensuring premium pricing for Nigerian exportable produce. The latest is the certification of SMEs under the Council's Go Global, Go for Certification initiative in line with global practice.
There have been an appreciable growth and development in Nigerian's non-oil export, with the strategic push by the Nigerian Export Promotion Council to transform the sector. However, there is a snag. It is the high rate of export rejects of some agricultural produce from Nigeria in the international markets due to quality requirements and certification from accredited authorities, especially with small and medium enterprises. But the cheery news is all that is changing. This is because the Nigerian Export Promotion Council is taking key steps to increase Nigerians' competitiveness and access to the domestic and export markets with the presentation of certification to beneficiary SMEs exporters.
The Africa Continental Free Trade Area, we cannot assess it if we don't do this. So with this certification, we can freely assess the aftermarket without any hindrance.
The Council has also trained more than 2,000 SMEs under its Go Global, Go for Certification initiative for manufacturers and food processors to ensure premium pricing of their products in the global market.
By undertaking a third-party audit against standard requirements by an accredited certification body.
You can't export processed goods made in Nigeria in international market without ISO 22000, without HACCP or FDA, which all the certification I have thanks to Nigerian Export Promotion Council.
The Nigerian Export Promotion Council is also collaborating with the German Corporation International and other stakeholders to build capacity of exporters in Abuja, Comfort and Madu. NTA News.
Small and medium-scale enterprises in Nigeria are now to be digitally integrated in order to leverage on emerging technological innovations in driving the nation's digital economy. And to this end, the SME Digital Academy, where interested Nigerians will be trained on various fields, has been inaugurated by the federal government. ICT correspondent Joseph Johnson reports.